Good morning, everyone. Welcome to provision-isr webinar. Today's topic is Ossia VMS. A few things about today's seminar. First of all, please note this webinar is being recorded. You will get access to the webinar recording starting tomorrow from our website. We will show you later today how to access from our website to a platform that you can see any kind of webinar we did in the past, and you can register to any future seminars. Today with me is Tal, our technical director, who will be hosting this seminar. I will be on the chat. So you can ask any question you have, or write it down and you can ask at the end of the seminar. At the end of the seminar, which will be about 50 to 60 minutes, we will leave room for questions. So bear with us, ask away on the chat, and I will be asking on behalf of you, or wait till the end. Enjoy. Thank you very much for joining. Tal, go ahead.
Thank you, Amnon. So hello, everyone. Like Amnon said, this webinar is going to take place in two occasions today. We are now at 11 a.m. Israel time, and later on we have another one at 4 p.m. We're going to discuss about the Ossia VMS part one. There is going to be a following part two. Today is basically general information, all you need to know about the VMS, plus a general introduction of features, capabilities, really on the tip of the iceberg, just to let you taste the VMS. Of course, if you have any questions, you can keep it to the end. You can write it on the chat, like Amnon said. So let's go on. The beginning is a little bit more theoretical, and then I'm going to leave the presentation and I'm going to do a practical presentation on the VMS itself. Okay, so what we're going to touch today is the Ossia VMS standard versus enterprise, the general differences, general capabilities and features, a little bit about DDI analytics, face recognition, and we're going to touch new features for some of you who are already introduced with the VMS. You would probably like the new features. So what is standard versus enterprise? Actually, we offer today two versions of the Ossia VMS. We have the standard, which is standalone. We will touch in a second what is standalone, which is also free. And we have the enterprise, which is a server client based, which is a paid software per channel with some differences. There is different hardware and so on, but we're not going to touch it. In the next slides, we're going to understand the differences. So basic, okay, first of all, what is a standalone system? A standalone system refers to a computer hardware or software that is able to operate independently, doesn't need anything else in order to operate. You install it on your own computer and you can work with it. Okay, how does it come to place in our VMS when we are talking about VMS standard, which is a standalone? Okay, this is basically the architecture. Let's say we have 3 devices, and let's say we have 3 clients. Okay, each device needs to be configured on each one of the clients. It means that we need to configure this device on these 3 clients, another device on these 3 clients, so everything needs to be multiplied. Think now what happens if you have one, let's say 20 devices and you have 20 clients, so you multiply more and more. Okay, and same for users. Let's say you want to configure users with different authorities and so on, so you need to configure each one of the users on the client, on the specific client. This is 3 clients. Think what happens if you have more clients, if you have more users, if you have different authorities and so on. Now, what happens if we want to add a new device? Okay, think you have a chain of stores and now you have another store, you opened it in another location in your country. You need to go now to each one of the clients and to configure it, okay, on each one of the clients. What happens, for example, if you want to remove a user? Okay, you need to go to each one of the clients and remove that user from that client before the user is really gone. Okay, so it's not really, it's very good when you have one device or more, or one user. Okay, it's very, very small installations. Okay, but when you have a lot of like chain stores, a lot of users, a lot of authorities, it's not the right way to go. And then we have the server client system. The server client system is actually refers to a computer hardware, software. It's being served by a server. Okay, that server is actually the Ossia VMS management server. Okay, without the management server, it will not work. Okay, the client of the enterprise version cannot work on its own. It must be connected all the time to the management server. How does it look? We have the management server on ground. And again, let's say we have 3 devices, we have 3 clients. Okay, these devices needs to be configured only on the server one time. Okay, when the clients will connect to the management server, they will see all of the devices. Okay, very, very quickly, very smoothly. Okay, same for users. You want to configure users, you need to configure the user only on the management server. Okay, now each one of these users will be able to connect on each one of the clients. Okay, you can log off from one client, can log in from another client. You don't need to configure it every time on the different client. You need to configure it only once on the management server. Now again, what happens if you want to add a 4th device? You need to configure that 4th device only on the management server. Okay, and automatically that device will already be seen by all the clients. Okay, what happens if you want to remove a user like before? Again, you need to remove it only from the management server, and that user will be removed from all the clients automatically. Okay, so again, if you have a lot of users, a lot of devices, usually the enterprise version is the right way to go. Okay, here we touch a little bit. I'm not going to go through all of it. We're going to touch, it explains a little bit about the capabilities of the VMS. This is the standard version. Okay, so you can see the main features are more or less the same like the enterprise version. On the enterprise version, we have the layer of the servers, of the management server. We also have other features like LPR monitoring, like web client, mobile app, and so on, that are not supported by the standard version at all. But most of the features, let's say 95% of the features, they are almost identical. So the main difference is the method of work, standalone versus client server based. Okay, here we kept only the differences between the different between the 2 versions, the standard and the enterprise. So you can see standalone versus client server. We have mobile app support, not supported by the standard and is supported by the enterprise, and some features especially related to analytics like face recognition, face greeting, LPR, and so on. Some of them are supported by the standard, but all of them, of course, are supported by the enterprise. And the system capability. If the standard version supports up to 256 channels, the enterprise version supports up to, it's not actually 30,000, it's more like 3,000. We can expand it to 30,000, but it requires some different hardware. And basically, we are talking about up to 3,000 cameras per server, okay? And maximum clients, it's 256. The enterprise version also supports development tools like SDK, so you can integrate the VMS or the video into third-party software. That's basically it. Like I said, the difference is more the platform, less by the features. Okay, another thing that I want to touch that most of you, I don't think you're very familiar of it, adding devices. Okay, so we have 4 methods of adding devices to the Ossia VMS: IP plus port, DDNS plus port, P2P. Okay, not 1, not 2. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but you're for sure familiar with P2P, and the auto report. Okay, like most of you, you're 100% familiar with IP, DDNS, and P2P. I want to touch the auto report for a second, so everyone will understand why it's important and why we need it. Okay, so what is the auto report? If we want to use static IP or we want to use DDNS, we need to configure it. We need to set the ports. We need to go to the router. Not always it's possible, especially if we have an IT person and so on. Okay, so let's say we have the server. It can be, by the way, it can be standard. It can be enterprise. The auto report, it's not something that is reserved only for the enterprise. Also, the standard support it. Okay, so let's say normal situation. We have the VMS on the center. Now, we need to configure all of these devices, and these are only 6 devices. We need to configure it manually on the VMS. But before we can configure it on the VMS, we need to configure the DDNS. We need to open ports on the router. Okay, it's something that can take a lot of time, a lot of efforts. Not always it's possible because of different restrictions by IT, different restrictions by the router, firewalls, and so on. And therefore, it takes a lot of time, a lot of efforts from the installer. What we did with the auto report is actually to change the roles. Okay, auto report. What we are doing, we are giving only the VMS static IP or DDNS. Of course, the static IP is preferred, but also DDNS can work. And what we need to do is just to set the, you can see all of the devices are now using dynamic IP. No need for a static IP, no need for DDNS, no need for port forwarding on the devices, nothing, okay? Only the VMS is using static IP. And now all the devices are reporting to the management server. How does it work actually? Okay, another drill down. Okay, you can see that we have here 3 devices, and in a second I will also show it. I will also show how it works practically. Okay, so let's say we have NVR and the camera. Okay, we go to the NVR and the camera. We enable the auto report. Okay, you can see we set the port 2009 in this case. This is the default port. We set the server address and the device ID, number 1, number 2, and that's it. Now, what happens, these devices will start reporting to the management server, and the management server will automatically recognize it and will allow you to add it by auto report. Okay? Now, I want to show you how it looks. Okay. Amnon, I think you painted something on the screen. Okay, now we have the Ossia VMS. This is the Ossia VMS practical. I'm going to log into one device we have on the network. Okay, so now I'm going to network configuration, auto report. You can see it here. Object is
just to be clear. Now you are in the NVR.
Now I'm on the NVR. Yes, yes. Sorry. Interface. Now I'm on the NVR interface. I want to enable auto report, so I am enabling auto report. Before I will enable auto report, I will show you. Now I'm going back to the VMS. I'm going to add, edit or delete device, and I want to add a new device. Okay, so like we said, we have several methods. Quick add is by IP, is all the devices that we have on LAN. We have manually add. Here you can see the other options, which is the IP address or IP range, domain name, which is actually DDNS, serial number, which is P2P, and URL is for RTSP, okay? But what we want is auto report. So we have here unbound auto report device. It means that these are devices that are currently reporting to the VMS and just waiting to be added, okay? we have here two devices. I want to add my own device. So I'm going back to the NVR. I'm enabling auto report. In this case, this is the IP of my management server. The port, this is the port in this case, and the device ID is 100. I will apply. And now I'm going back to the VMS. I'm refreshing. Okay, 1 second. I might have the port wrong. Okay, this is the management console. Okay, so I got the port wrong. You can see the auto report port of the VMS management server is 11,003. So I will fix the configuration on the NVR. I will apply. And going back to the VMS, I will click on refresh. And you can see now I have device number 100. This is exactly the device I just configured. You can see device ID 100. And all I need to do now is just click it. And I want to add it to NVR Tech Room. This is my area. And I will click OK. It was added here. Now I just need to fix the password, which is not default. And within a few seconds, it should connect. Okay, you can see now it became online. You can see it's online. I have all the details, NVR8, 8200 PFA. And you can see here that it is auto report. I don't care what is the port. I don't care what is the IP. The device will always report back to the VMS all of the details, IP, port, and so on. It's very, very convenient, very quick to set up. Okay, so actually for us, the preferred way to add devices, of course, if you have IP or DDNS, it's great. But if you want to use another way, it's much better than P2P, much more stable than P2P, and also it requires zero configuration, like the P2P. Okay. So now we finish.
One thing, Tal. First of all, we'd like to make it clear to everyone. Just 1 second, please. We'd like to make it clear. This is a much economic way also. Looking from the commercial side of it, let's not forget that when we buy IP addresses and so on, we pay quite a lot of money. This is the most economic way. And just to be clear, some of the questions that were asked in the chat was about the same concept. So basically now that the device is auto-reporting to the VMS, that's it. You have full control of the device. You can do the setting of the NVR, you can view recording. Once you connect it to the VMS using auto-report, it's like using it as an IP address or a DNS. It does not matter. That's it. You're logged to the device and you have full control over it according to the authorizations, of course. Correct, Tal?
Yes, exactly.
Thank you.
Okay, so we continue. What we're going to go now is just briefly going through the main features of the VMS. What are the capabilities, okay, and features of the VMS? So what we currently see is the live view. Okay, on the left side of things, we have the device tree arranged by areas. So we have NVR area. Under the NVR, we have other areas called Ashdod, NVR Israel, NVR Tech Room, and under it, we have the actual channels. Okay, what you see on the top left is one of our DDA cameras. So you can see that the VMS is already completely adapted the analytics. On the right side, you can also see the analytics, the snapshots from the DDA cameras, okay, that are positioned on the back, okay. And one of the important things that I want to say is that we are now releasing version 1.4.5. Okay, version 1.4.5 allows complete transparency of analytics from the NVR to the VMS. So unlike before, you don't need to configure the camera directly on the VMS anymore. Just for you to understand, if I take exactly the same camera, back DDA here, this is exactly the same camera. The difference between the left side and the right side is the right side is running on NVR version 1.4.4. You can see the analytic is not transparent. The VMS is not receiving any analytics from the NVR. On the top left, we have the analytics getting pushed from the NVR to the VMS. So you can see also the objects are being marked. You can see the snapshots on the right-hand side and so on. Here we have all the control over the cameras on the live view. We have PTZ control, snapshots, audio control, digital zoom, for example. So we can do digital zoom from here directly. Instant playback, substream, mainstream, alarms, if we want to trigger alarms. If we want to broadcast audio, we can also broadcast audio from the VMS to one device or to several devices. We can create device groups. You can see start broadcast, end broadcast. Of course,
just one second, Tal, I want to stop here. Not sure that many people understand what broadcast audio means.
Okay, so broadcast audio, you're on the VMS. Okay, you're the operator, you have a lot of cameras, a lot of NVRs around, and some of them have audio out capability. Okay, so let's say you as an operator, you want to announce something, you want to broadcast audio like a PA system, public announcement. Okay, this is exactly the way to do it. You click here, you set here, you can see on the left side, we have all the devices that support audio out. We can mark all of these devices. Okay, we can add them to this group. And now I can click on start broadcast. And all of these devices now can hear what I'm saying. Actually, of course, if they have some kinds of public announcement or speakers, something like that. And when I end the broadcast, they cannot hear me anymore. So you can use the VMS.
Where do you connect your microphone? In the server, correct?
No, actually, the client, actually. The computer client, if you're working directly on the server, you need to connect some audio in device. At the moment, I'm using a laptop, so the laptop is also being used as the audio device. Okay.
You got it.
Okay. By the way, what you see here on the bottom left, it looks weird, but what we see here is actually POS. We have some device running POS. Now it stopped, but you can see it. I could see it here on the substream. Anyway, so all the controls you need to do, of course, you can create different layouts. So if I want to make a new layout, for example, I can click here. I can customize screen mode. You can see here all of the built-in screen modes, and I can create my own. So I can do basic one. Let's say create. And now you can see this is the base. I can change the base something like this. And now I can click on it, click merge. And now another one here. Just let's do something crazy. And now I can set a name, call it Tal, and save. And now when I close it, I can go here again. And now I have a new view called Tal. I click on it. And you can see this is the view I just created. I have one huge camera, another medium camera, and a lot of small cameras. And of course, I can populate it with more videos. You can see now it's full. Okay. So this is more or less the live view. Of course, we have a lot of, we can create more views. We can save this view. So now, for example, I can go to view, and I can save it. So from this point on, anytime I change my view, or even if I close it completely, I can always go back and, sorry, I just changed it. So if I close it, I don't want to save it. Something here is bothering me. Okay, so if I close it, and I don't want to save it, now I can go back to views. And very quickly go back to the view I just saved. Okay, I didn't need to do anything else. So this is more or less for live view. Now let's talk about playback. Okay, for playback we have the normal playback. Okay, the normal playback that you know. I can choose any NVR. Let's say NVR Tech Room. I can take any camera. And you can see I have the video, I have the time bar with all the different types of events. I can filter out events that I don't care about, so you can filter out schedule. You can see all the blue is gone. And now we can only play, you can see live events. This is very standard, but we do have more advanced or more intuitive ways for playback. I don't know if some or all of you are familiar with our time slice playback or time slice search. So let's talk about it for a second. Let's say you come back from a long vacation or you come back from a weekend and you see that unfortunately, God forbid, someone stole your car, someone broke into your door, broken window, something like that, something is missing, something is stolen, okay? The best way to find it is the time slice image. What we're going to do, we're going to take one NVR. Let's take, for example, again, the back camera. Now I'm giving a time range. Let's say we'll take 5 days. So start time, let's take 5 days back. And now I click on search. What happens now? I'm actually getting one snapshot. You can see one snapshot from the midnight of every day, from the 15th until the 28th, okay? And now, actually, what we are searching for is the change, okay? Missing car, a car that appeared, broken window, broken door. In this case, we don't have anything because the parking is always empty at the end of the day. Okay, or let's do something else. You can see here, for example, that this cart where my mouse is empty, and here it is full. It has some white bag in it. Let's find out when this bag appeared. So what I will do now, I will do a double click on this day, and now I will get one snapshot from every hour. You can see midnight, 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m., 5 a.m., 6 a.m., 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and so on. It will continue, move up. Very quickly, I can see that between 2 p.m. and 3 p.m., the cart got full. Again, you can see here it is empty, and here it has the white nylon bag. And the next click I need to do is at 2 p.m. Double click, and now I'm getting one snapshot from every 5 minutes, okay? If you're familiar with the Ossia is going to a 1-minute resolution. The Ossia VMS is going to a 5-minute resolution. And very quickly, I can see that between 2:25 and 2:30, the white nylon bag appeared. And now I can click on play and just quickly skip. This is, again, it's a 5-minute time. Oh, there it is. And you can see, now I can see the person that is filling out the nylon bags, okay? You can see that it took me about, including the talking and explaining, it took me about 30 seconds, okay? It is very quick. It is very good for scenarios where something appeared or disappeared. It's not good for someone moved something, or you want to see when a person walked through the street. It's not the right way to go. But when something appeared or disappeared, it is the best way. It is better than any analytics. I can promise you, even though it's a low-tech search, it's better than any analytic search that you might have used, okay? And it's very intuitive, very fast, okay? And from here, I can also go to the storage playback. And again, I will go to exact the same time. And from here, I can already backup, save, put a bookmark, anything I want to do very quickly from here. Okay. Emaps. Let's talk about emaps for a second. Emap, we have two types of emaps. We have Google-based emap and we have image-based emap. Usually we go from the top layers, let's say country, city, building, using Google Maps, and within the building we will use the image of the internal site. So let's go to Israel, for example. In Israel we have two maps. We have a map called Ashdod and we have a map called Office. Our office is located in Kfar Saba. It's a city called Kfar Saba. We can see it here, Kfar Saba. This is Google Maps I'm just using. And our office is in Kfar Saba. I lost it for a second. Our office should be, doesn't matter. Okay, I lost it for a second. But I will just position the office map, okay, in the location. I just drag it and leave it here. You can see now I have another mark of a map called Office. And I will go to the office map. This is our office map. And now I can switch to video points and I can add video points. So let's say now NDAA, LPR Street, the Z4, Z6. And you can see now all the cameras are being added. I can move it. I can right click, edit, change the icon, change the name if I want, change the text color to red, okay? And now everything is done. I can go back home and now I can go to Emap monitoring. So Emap monitoring, I have Israel and you can see here I have Ashdod and I have Office. If I click on Office, I go to the map I just created, okay? You can see here one of the cameras is blinking, okay? And we also have some videos coming up on the right side. At the moment it is configured that alarms will automatically pop up videos, okay? The reason it is blinking because there is an active alarm happening here. Now we can set which alarms are interesting and which alarms are not interesting. So for example, motion is not interesting. Okay, I remove it. Okay, and we can clear all. You can see it will stop blinking. I can also double click on the camera to open it manually. You can see the Z6 just opened here. And from here also, for example, I can control the PTZ. So this is the Z6. I can move it. Okay, you can see right, left, call presets, and so on. Very simple, very intuitive. We can set, like I said, for the videos to pop up automatically in case of alarms. We can open it manually. We can filter out alarms, and so on. Okay, so this is the Emaps, you know, on the tip of the iceberg. TV wall management is for mostly for using decoders. Okay, let's say you have a lot of views, you have a lot of monitors, a lot of cameras you want to view on the same at the same time. Okay, you have two options. One option is to buy an extremely expensive computer with a very strong graphic card that has a lot of HDMI outputs. Then you can configure everything, and still, most probably, even a very strong computer will most probably not be able to achieve the same capabilities as the decoder. The decoder is running a very lightweight software, okay, and it can decode up to 144 cameras. Okay, that's the only job the decoder can do. And for example, let's take TV wall management. You can set it up and you can very quickly set up your plans, take cameras and throw into the cameras. You can change the views of the decoder, for example, 25 channel views and so on. Very quickly. It is better than any other hardware. It is much better than purchasing a very strong computer, especially if you have tasks of normally watching. Let's say you have normally monitoring 50, 60, even 20 or 30 cameras. Okay, it will save you a lot of money to go to the decoder and not to buy a very strong computer. Keep you the resource of the computer for and all the unexpected tasks like playback, like EMAP monitoring, and let the decoder do the hard work of decoding video. Decoding video is the hardest work for the VMS, okay? All the rest is just simple. Decoding video is very demanding when it comes to resources. And here we need the decoders. If we will have a few minutes when I'm done, I can show you a small short video how the decoder works. Okay, for resource management is normal, where we add all the devices, cameras, DVRs, NVRs. Of course, we can add here, when it comes to the enterprise, we can add another devices that are related to the architecture, like recording servers, like media transfer servers. I'm not going to go into it. Decoders, of course, you can see here the decoders we can add from here. I'm not going to go through each one, what it is doing and so on. Just general, just for your general knowledge. People management, okay, is for databases. Okay, people database, face database. Okay, I will show you a small introduction here on the presentation, how it looks. Okay, sorry. Okay, so we have one NVR. Let's say we have 4 NVRs on ground. You can even be 100 NVR, it doesn't matter. One of the NVRs has recognized Alon, okay? Alon is recognized, but in order for the other NVRs to recognize Alon as well, we need to synchronize the database, because Alon, otherwise we need to add Alon to each and every one of the NVRs. The engine that can synchronize database, face database, is the VMS. Both the standard and the enterprise can do this work, okay? So what we can do, we can use the management server, okay? Face registration, we register the person to the management server, and the management server will automatically dispatch the face to all of the NVRs. So from this point on, all of the NVRs will recognize this person, okay? This is just on the general explanation. I can also show you, for example, let's go to the face recognition. Okay, so face recognition. You can see here on the right side, we have people coming into the office, okay? And each one of these person unrecognized, we can add him to the database, okay? So I can click here. Each one of these persons, we can click on the image itself, and if we want, we can add it from the right pane. We can also search for faces. So let's take, for example, all of this. Okay, let's take this one. We click on search, and you can see here all of the faces that came into the office that were detected today. And again, each one of these faces, I can add him to the database. So let's add Mariela to provision database. And that's it. Mariela is now part of the database. And next time Mariela will go through any one of the cameras, she's supposed to be recognized. Okay. I can also search for all of the instances that Mariela was recognized. So again, I will choose Mariela's picture. I'm clicking on search. And now you can see all the instances from today only that Mariela was recognized by the NVR. You can see this is sorted out by the time, from the earliest recognition to the latest recognition, which is 8 minutes ago. And we can also take it back. For example, let's search from yesterday.
Just one question, Tal.
Yes, of course.
Once you added the person into the VMS and synchronize it with all the devices that are connected to this VMS,
yes.
so now I can search that person in all of my devices, and I will get the recordings of all the devices that capture this specific person, no matter where the device is.
Okay, so let's divide it to two. Some of what you said is right, some of what you said is not so right. In order to search the person in the NVR, I don't need him to be in the database. Okay? For example, I can take another face. Let's take another, let's take this one. This one, I don't know who is this person. The NVR doesn't know who is this person. He's not in the database. And I can still search and find results of this person, okay? From more than one NVR, okay? The recognition is more for triggers. What it means when I'm adding someone to the database, it means that when I recognize him, I'm expecting the system to perform some kind of a trigger, to open the door if it's allowed list, for example, or to, for example, lock the door if it's in the block list. Okay, but in order to search, playback, and so on, I don't need for the person to be in the database. I can take any person and perform any kind of search on one or more NVRs, even if the person is not in the NVR database. Okay, so this is a little bit about face recognition and databases, search, and so on. We have the alarm center, which is, of course, if I spoke about triggers, then here we configure the triggers, okay? In general, in a matter of concept, once we have the VMS on ground, the VMS is the manager, the administrator. Which means that we want for the VMS to be the one that decides which action, which trigger to perform. Okay, in general, it's also possible to make local configuration on the NVR, on the IP camera, but usually we intend for the VMS to be the manager of the triggers, and this is actually what the alarm center came into the picture for. So for example, we spoke about face recognition. So if we want face recognition, we can set here, for example, you can see channel face match, okay, face recognition matched alarm, or face recognition unmatched alarm. And now we have all the cameras that supports face recognition. For example, face attendance, front door face, main passage, all of these are face recognition devices. And here we can set the triggers, okay? Now, I will not go drill down into the triggers, just quickly. Audio is to make a local audio sound on the VMS client. PTZ control is to send PTZs to a certain presets. Record is local record on the VMS. Alarm view is alarm view pop-up on the VMS itself. Snapshot is to save a snapshot. Alarm output is relay to activate relays. You can see here that I have a list of all the relays available on the devices that are added to the VMS. Voice broadcast is to broadcast audio to the device itself, okay? For example, if I have a block list, I can record audio saying entry is not allowed, for example, and I can broadcast that audio to the face recognition device that is being the one that recognizes the person, and that one will broadcast the audio, entry is not allowed. TV wall, okay, is a video pop-up to the decoder, okay? Decoder, I didn't mention it, but decoder is capable for live view, playback, and alarm pop-ups. So TV wall is pop-up for to the decoder, send email, and eventually we have SOP. SOP leads me to the next feature I want to talk about. SOP, standard operation procedure, okay? What does it mean? It means that in many cases, the operator who is sitting in front of the VMS, maybe in some cases he's not well trained, he is not well acquainted with the building, with the people working in the building. And in some cases, it is also possible that when in emergency, that person will, you know, he will get so panicked that he will not really know how to operate, what to do, what he needs to do, even though he was explained what to do 100 times. In this case, we have the SOP. The SOP is actually our ability to build a set of operations and to actually attach those operations to a certain event, okay? So how does it look actually? Okay, now we have here the SOP filter. Without SOP filter, you can see here on the bottom right, we have 219 alarms waiting to be processed. Okay, of course, it's not a realistic number. And if I keep talking for another few seconds, you will see that this number will keep on rising and rising and rising. Now, SOP means that the operator needs to do something in case an event happened. So let's activate the SOP filter, and you can see that out of 218 events that I had before I activated the SOP filter, now I only remained with 8. You can see here I have only 8 unhandled alarm numbers. You can see these are the unhandled alarms, 8. What I need to do, click on alarm processing. Okay, we have at 11:52, main passage camera detected the face. What I need to do as an operator, call the police. I did it. Lock all doors. I did it. And activate siren. I did it. Save process. That's it. The process is locked. The admin, currently I'm logged in as admin, but the user is the one who is being processed here. It can be Tal, it can be Amnon, it can be anyone. It is locked. It means that when I'm going to the search now, as a system administrator, as a security chief of the building, what I will see now is actually what the operator did when he handled this alarm. You can see. I can see that admin did call the police at 11:53, locked all doors at 11:53, and activated the siren at 11:53. Of course, I can check if he really did it and so on. Also, the operator can set if it was a false alarm, if it was a true alarm, okay? And let's say true alarm, and I can also write here a text saying that a thief entered through the side window. And I can save this one as well. Okay, you can see here everything is processed, and later on the security chief of staff can go back to the events, to the log, search, find what happened, and actually question the person on ground. What did you do? Why did you do it? And so on. And nothing of this can be changed later on. I cannot edit it anymore. That's it. It is locked. Sorry, 1 second. Okay, sorry, 1 second. This was the SOP. Also, we add the ability for email sending and so on. We have LPR monitoring. Okay, for LPR, you can see we have one LPR camera here. Okay, we have a truck blocking the road, so it's not very good. But let's try another camera. I don't know if I have another camera here. Lane 1. lane management, street. Let's see if we have linked LPR camera. Let's say another camera, right window, apply. Okay, let's see now if I changed anything. Let's wait for any car to come in. LPR monitoring is mostly to the ability to monitor vehicles who passed through a certain time, when he passed, if he was allowed, if he's not allowed. The system can also open the gate. You can see here open barrier based on the LPR camera alarm output. And it's mostly for monitoring. For parking management, we have another software called SHOB. We're not going to touch it now, but the VMS is mostly to monitor LPR cameras and with some certain ability to open closed gates, but not more than that. Of course, we can playback, we can search based on events. Okay, now you can see we have the number. We have the vehicle 198-16401. You can see it here. Okay, all of them, you can see the system is writing the vehicle is not allowed to enter, but I can still, if there is a barrier, I can still open the barrier manually. Okay, if the vehicle is in the database, here on the vehicle management, I have the database where I can add vehicles to the database, allow list. You can see I have one vehicle here. I can add another vehicle. For example, okay, license plate already exists. Never mind. Okay, now it is here. So this is the database, and this is for LPR monitoring. Okay. The rest thing that we have is face attendance. Okay, now I'm going to touch it really quick. Face recognition, we have seen it. Face attendance is the ability to monitor attendance of employees. Okay, you can set the working days and so on. You can see from 8 to 5. Let's try to make a report. We have another sub office in Ashdod. Let's do attendance query for Ashdod for July, search. And you can see here that we have, let's do it on only one of the employees. Let's take Amichai, for example.
While Tali is showing, I will explain a little bit what does it mean. Basically, access control or time and attendance. Let's use it like this. At the end of the month, we can pull up our report from the VMS. Again, we are basing it on face recognition cameras. Since we know the person that comes to the office every day, the employees, we can put them in a list of employees. And when they come in and when they go out, we can register it. And at the end of the month, we can pull up a report, a full report for the accounting department of entry and exits and which days they were off or arrived late or came early or whatever they did. Go ahead, Tal.
Okay, so you can see the report here. This report is for July. I have one system keeping offline. This report is for July. So if you can see from the 1st of July, Amichai is supposed to work from 8 to 5. So on the 1st of July, he came on 9:51, but he left at 5:13, which means he arrived late. Friday and Saturday, we are not working. It is a day off, it's okay. But we have arrived late and left early because he left at 3:55, and so on. We have some normal days. Let's see if we have anything normal. No, not normal. Okay, nothing normal. Okay, so we can create such a report, and of course we can also export it later on if we want to a CSV, and then we can send it, like Amnon said, to the accountant, to the sales, HR department, and so on. Okay, the rest People counting, of course, we have another full webinar on people counting, but this is actually the ability to check what is happening. Okay, to restrict. Let's go here. So you can see here, for example, vacancy is 57. Okay, current occupancy is 0, but probably something is not set here correctly. But this is actually the ability of the VMS to monitor, to count people and to say how many people are allowed in, how many people are currently in, and when they are supposed to close, not enter anymore because the place is fully occupied. Okay, this is a whole topic on its own. There is a full webinar just on people counting, but this is practically it. And all the rest is actually logs. We can get logs from the device itself. We can get logs. We can see, for example, fault log. We don't have any faults on the devices itself. We can search local logs. We can set local configurations. This is more management of the VMS. We're not going into it under this webinar, for sure. And the last thing, which is very nice in my opinion, is the ability to remove functions that are not being used by the operator. Okay, so for example, if you're not using emaps, you can remove emaps, and then emap will be removed from all the menus and so on. Okay, this was just on the tip of the iceberg. The VMS has much more features, and of course, each feature I showed you have a lot of sub features and a lot of interesting things. But this is the base, and practically we are out of time. I will keep some time for questions and answers. We will stay here for another 20 minutes. Thank you everyone who participated. The recording, this webinar is being recorded. If you want, you can get to this recording through our website. If you go to provision-isr website, you can go to knowledge sharing, live webinars, and under live webinars, you have all the upcoming events, and you can go to the past. Basically, usually 24 hours after the webinar, it will already appear here, and you can watch it again. You can see we have all the former webinars, DDA video analytics, some Spanish webinars, object counting, which I just spoke about for the VMS and so on, roadmap, all the past webinars. So practically tomorrow, this webinar should be there as well.
Thank you very much, Tal. First of all, as you may have seen, the VMS has a lot of features. We decided to split it into two seminars. One is today. By the way, also today, in about 4 hours from now, we have the same seminar. So if you want to invite any one of your customers to join again, please feel free. Also, we have another seminar next week when we're going to try and drill down to some of the more sexy features related to analytics and such. So you're more than welcome to register to next week's seminar and to come and see a little bit more of the features. Like you've seen, the VMS has a lot of features and it can accommodate any kind of project from a small one of a few NVRs with an end user controlling it, intuitive and very easy to use. And from the other side to more professional project with monitoring room when you have a monitoring person monitoring the VMS and controlling it. There's a lot more features to see. I hope you got a glance of it. Thank you very much for joining. Tal, thank you very much as well. I'm going to stop the recording.